Hello, Johnnies. Welcome to this installment of WRED-TV's Eye of the Storm. I'm Celia Welton.
And I'm Amanda Aviles. We have the top stories from St. John's and beyond, and we are bringing them to you. This is Eye of the Storm.
On June 10th of last year, University President Conrado Bobby Gempisaw officially announced his retirement from the position of leader of our school and has since stepped down as of January 2021, completing an almost 6-year tenure. With his retirement, Bobby leaves us with this heartfelt message sent via email where he states, "Writing a letter this time feels more momentous because it marks a new beginning in more ways than one. As we begin the next stage of our lives, we will take with us wonderful memories of being part of the St. John's family and will always cheer for the Red Storm. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and our very best wishes to all." Right back at you, Bobby. We now welcome our 18th president, Reverend Brian J. Shanley, who began his tenure of February 1st this year. He previously served as president of Providence College, where he was credited with making substantial improvements to campus facilities and student services, and strengthening the college's national profile in academics and athletics. We wish President Father Shanley a successful and productive career here at SJU.
Sudden changes in the wake of online learning, such as less face-to-face interaction with professors and peers, has really taken a toll on everyone. We have all had to learn to adapt to drastic changes on top of any challenges we may have already been facing in our day-to-day lives. The need for more mental health and wellness services has pushed the Center for Counseling and Consultation to show up for our community here at SJU. Students and even staff have reported feeling excess stress, fear, difficulty sleeping, and are finding dealing with mental health issues even tougher overall. St. John's recognizes how important it is to come together as a community more than ever. You can support yourself and others by reaching out to friends and family and even seeking extra help here on campus. You can search for the CCC on the St. John's University website and schedule a screening appointment online or over the phone to help set up a telemental health plan. Resources on St. John's website also include the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number, www.virusanxiety.com, therapy options for students of color, and previously mentioned telemental health counseling sessions with a professional advisor.
With plenty of changes still coming to campus dining, let's go to Dominic Spina to look further into one of a few options students now have.
Campus life has changed a lot this year as SJU continues to try and adapt to the current state of the world, and campus dining is no exception. Unfortunately, some of our favorite spots have been closed and indoor dining has been limited, but students still have some lesser-known options available, one of which has been spotted zipping around campus in a golf cart. Boost is an on-campus delivery service that provides most of our dining options right to your door. From Starbucks to Burger King, Freshens, and more, you can place your order for delivery or even skip the line and pick up. Once you've placed your order and are ready to check out, you have two options, wallet and campus card. When adding your campus card, simply enter your meal card number located on the back of your Storm card and add your St. John's email. So whether it's something from the Law School Cafe or the Marillac Cafeteria, you can always find something to eat from the comfort of your own dorm. I'm Dominic Spina, reporting with WRED-TV. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Dominic. I'll be sure to try out Boost right after the show.
Last semester, a big change that was felt by all was the missing excitement that comes with SJU sports. Luckily, with more guidelines and safety precautions being put into place, our beloved St. John's sports have finally made a return. Let's go to Zafira with SportsWire.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm Zafira Ali, and this is SportsWire, your home for Red Storm sports. With sports finally making their return, teams have had to adapt to many changes in order to train and practice with the hopes of returning to competition in the upcoming weeks. This season is particularly unique since both fall and spring sports will be played in the same season with new challenges brought on by the pandemic. Athletes and staff alike have had to find new ways to ensure the safety of everyone involved. On a typical day, all athletes have to check into Carnesecca Arena approximately 30 minutes before their scheduled practice time. During the check-in, they receive a temperature check. If their temperature is normal, then they receive a bracelet that symbolizes that they are cleared to use the facilities and ready to practice for the day. If it is abnormal, they are sent home. All athletes are tested approximately 3 times a week, and masks must be worn for the entirety of every training session. As an extra measure to keep our athletes safe, most sports seasons have reduced their number of games and limited distant travel for away games. As far as fan attendance at these games, unfortunately, it is still to be determined. With these precautions put in place, you can still keep up with the Red Storm at redstormsports.com. After the 2020 season was cut short for each team, this season proves to be special importance for last year's senior athletes. Multiple teams will be welcoming back players from the class of 2020 who have opted to take the advantage of the NCAA's extended eligibility due to special circumstances brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. The NCAA's Division I rules state that each student athlete is limited to 4 seasons of play within a 5-year period of eligibility. Because of this rule, typically any student athletes are enrolled in a 5-year program elect not to play in any games during their first year. However, during March of 2020, the NCAA declared that student athletes whose spring season was shortened due to COVID would be granted an extra year of competition. This ruling will prove valuable for all St. John's teams with players who take advantage of their extended eligibility, particularly men's lacrosse. Johnny's Lacrosse will be welcoming back 5 graduated athletes from the class of 2020, all of whom regularly started and/or saw action on the field during their previous 4 seasons with St. John's. Among these returning Johnnies are Mike and Joe Madsen. During the shortened 2020 season, the Madsen brothers scored a combined 43 goals, were both selected in 2019 to the All-Big East second team. The St. John's men's soccer team ranked number 24 on the NCAA Division Men's Top 25 poll conducted by Top Drawer Soccer. Last season, the Johnnies earned their spot at number 9 on this poll with their 14-win season. They progressed in the playoffs to the NCAA round of 16 for the 12th time in the program's history, and some of the players received additional postseason awards. Tani Oluwaseyi won the Big East Offensive Player of the Year. Jan Hoffliner earned the Co-Goalkeeper of the Year, and Dr. David Masur won his 4th Big East Coaching Staff of the Year award. Oluwaseyi kicked off the 2021 season with the honors of the Big East Preseason Offensive Player of the Year. Midfielders Einar Lai and Brandon Knopp were named on the preseason All-Big East team. The Johnnies are predicted to finish 3rd in this East Division this season. Now, on to St. John's basketball. The Red Storm has had a great season overall with some fantastic news, but unfortunate losses. Currently, men's basketball stands with 14 wins and 10 losses and ranks number 6 in the Big East. The women's team is ranked 8th with the win-to-loss ratio of 7-13. Men's basketball coach Mike Anderson recently celebrated the 400th win of his long head coaching career when Red Storm took on Xavier February 16th, crushing the Musketeers with a 93-84 victory. With the end of the season approaching, they are focusing on winning their last 2 games against Providence and Seton Hall to build momentum to bring to the Big East tournament. We wish them and the rest of our Red Storm teams good luck in their upcoming games. Let's go Johnnies! That's it for this edition of SportsWire. We look forward to hearing more updates from the Red Storm as the season continues. Once again, I'm Zafira Ali, signing off for the last time, passing it to you guys.
Thank you, Safira. St. John's Study Abroad programs is a big attraction for prospective students. With campuses in Rome, Paris, and Limerick, over 40% of undergraduate students participate in study abroad programs during their time at the university. These programs had been previously suspended. However, as of now, Europe has deemed education as essential travel and is allowing student entry for study purposes, according to the SJU Global Studies website. Even with uncertainty about the future, students are still hopeful and excited to be able to study abroad. Sophomore Jocelyn Holmes is one of many students who plans to spend this fall in Europe despite the pandemic. She states, I have always wanted to study abroad for an extended period of time, and I don't know when else an opportunity like this will present itself, so I have to take it. For the summer program, students who go abroad can expect required testing before and after their arrival in Europe, as well as having to self-isolate for a short period of time. The Office of International Studies is currently accepting applications for summer programs, as well as for the fall of 2021 and spring 2022 semester programs. St. John's is also moving forward with taking applications for the 4-week summer programs at the Paris and Rome campuses. Applications are due no later than March 15th, and any questions about these programs can be answered by contacting the Office of International Studies.
As we approach a year battling the pandemic, a ray of hope has been discovered among one of our very own alumni. Dr. Anthony J. Longo, who graduated in the class of '92, helped prepare the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine distributed at the Long Island Jewish Medical Center in New Hyde Park, New York. Dr. Longo and his team were the first to prepare and receive the vaccine, charting the course for the road back to normalcy. Dr. Longo stresses the importance of taking the vaccine when available, saying that it is a safe vaccine and that the vaccine is a tool whose first dose gives you 50% protection and whose second dose gives you 95% protection. With incredible losses this past year, it's important to remember that COVID-19 is still a threat and that even with the vaccine, we must still uphold our preventative measures to truly beat it. We are so proud to have one of our own Johnnies working hard to help combat this virus in such a vital way. As always, maintain social distancing, wash your hands, wear a mask, and stay safe.
In spite of the many resources available at SJU, many students have trouble getting in touch with the faculty they need when they need to. Here with some insights from an SJU alum, it's Melissa Abrams.
When it was first announced that St. John's would be shutting down due to COVID, it was a bummer for the freshmen who couldn't finish out their first year. But for the upperclassmen, who are supposed to be gently ushered from the safety of college life to the real world, it wasn't just a bummer, it was a full halt to their lives. According to one class, 71% of students reported that an opportunity in their field of study diminished, and 4% of students either had to change majors, drop out, or not graduate on time. But being a new year should hopefully help things, right? Well, unfortunately, this is not the case for St. John's students who are looking to career services for guidance. Many upperclassmen have reported that even before the pandemic, career services was hard to find and difficult to work with.
February, April, and May of 2019, I emailed them 3 times with a copy of my resume asking, can somebody take a look at this? It's a requirement for the School of Ed. I need to walk, I need to graduate, whatever. And nobody got back to me. So then I emailed them in December 2019, and then again in February 2020. And they got back to me April, the end of April 2020, with little pointers on what to fix in my resume and what to do. But just the fact that it took them basically a year, and I emailed them at least 6 times in those 2 years, it was just a little absurd.
Students ourselves looking for guidance in these uncertain times, it is pertinent that career services creates more direct lines of communication and more opportunities for students outside of Tobin. Hopefully career services will meet these requests, but for now, I'm Melissa Abrams reporting for WRED-TV. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Melissa. Hopefully St. John's administration takes into account the experiences of students and alumni in order to improve the programs necessary for student success.
St. John's has introduced a new minor this semester. The Critical Race and Ethnic Studies minor is the first program of its kind. The curriculum will cover how social justice issues are shaped by race, ethnicity, class, disability, gender, sexuality, and other contemporary or historical forms of group differentiation according to the program's mission statement. The creation of this minor has been in the works for the last 3 years. According to Dr. Natalie Byfield in a recent Torch interview, This is in response to student protests over the last 5 years. This 15-credit program seeks to fill gaps in the curriculum at the university and has led to the creation of new classes for this program. Students seem to be excited about the content and conversations this new program will bring to St. John's. President of Haraya, the Pan-African Students Coalition, Armani Nataya Baptista, said, "As a student of color, I think that it is important for there to be a minor dedicated to the things that are not normally talked about." Baptista also discussed the potential for the program to grow larger, possibly even becoming a major, and noted that the faculty and professors behind the minor are willing to work effortlessly to educate all students of St. John's. Fellow E-Board member Mershawn Rice also shared her hopes for the new program, stating that it is my hope that both the students and faculty members within this program are open-minded, conscious, and passionate about their work, because it is for the betterment of both St. John's community and well beyond.
As many Johnnies may recall, the fall semester saw ex-NYPD officer and adjunct history professor Richard Taylor fired for his racist comments in the classroom. However, new events of this story show that he has done much more than simply pack up his desk. The former professor has now filed a lawsuit against the university for wrongful termination, suggesting that his academic career was ruined by radical students who simply did not like the questions he posed about slavery in class. But how and why did this adjunct professor decide to combat St. John's University? While it may not surprise most of the student body, the situation outraged a prominent St. John's Law School alumnus, Ronald G. Russo, prompting him to push to Taylor's aid, picking up his case pro bono. Taylor alleges that the school never presented any evidence against him or allowed him to appeal the firing. Furthermore, Taylor claims that he had been teaching this History 1000 class in the same way for 5 years without a single complaint. Such a claim may come as no surprise to anyone. White instructors teaching about race without the range to speak upon racial dilemmas seems to be the operating norm, not only at St. John's but in universities across the country. The outrage of some white students, faculty, and alumni who have sided with Taylor is indicative of a much larger issue regarding white supremacy and the lack of a formal stance taken by the administration following Taylor's termination. In the end, rather than apologizing for his insensitive remarks in the classroom and taking responsibility for his blatantly racist tweets against civil rights group Black Lives Matter, Taylor blames his firing on the radical students that spoke up against him. We will continue following the story as it unfolds.
With campus life seeing more and more shifts in how students participate outside of the classroom, fraternities and sororities have seen the effects of these changes and have made plenty of adjustments to their usual recruitment routines. Let's go to Kelly Layden to get some more details about how they've been adapting.
For colleges and universities across the country, Greek life plays a huge role in life on campus. Hundreds of students each year at St. John's University join both Pan-Hellenic and multicultural sororities and fraternities. Greek organizations are known to hold various events throughout the semester, from fundraisers to philanthropic work to social events. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, these groups have had to operate almost completely virtually, from how they come together as an organization to how they recruit new members. We sat down with one of the members of Phi Sigma Sigma, President Caitlin Johnson, to hear how things are working.
Phi Sigma Sigma and all of FSL as a whole has had to move operations completely. We've had to pivot to doing things on Zoom. We've actually done a few philanthropy events being virtual. So last semester we worked with Thirst Project, the world's leading youth-activated organization working to end the global water crisis. And we raised over $1,000 virtually.
One of the biggest Greek life events at St. John's is formal recruitment, a weekend-long process held at the beginning of each spring semester. Typically, every student registered for recruitment would have to either Marillac or DAC to meet dozens of sisters face-to-face from each of the Pan-Hellenic sororities. However, for the first time in 2021, it will all be held virtually.
Normally, you go for the whole weekend, you're in person, you meet new friends, and that's what a lot of girls look forward to. So we've really had to advertise online and build a social media presence where we're going to meet girls since they're not seeing us on campus.
In the spring of 2020, over 300 students were registered for formal recruitment. However, in 2021, that number has decreased by almost 40%.
A lot of girls really do look forward to that in-person experience of recruitment, but I am impressed by the amount of girls that still are willing to do the online Zoom. A lot of the new girls who are going to join are younger, and I'm hoping by the middle of their college career or the end of it, they're going to be able to go back to this in-person event.
Despite these difficulties, it's great to see these organizations continue to push through and continue on with their mission. I'm Kelly Layden, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Kelly. We're glad to see student organizations still keeping active despite the setbacks of COVID.
As always, before wrapping up our show, we would like to end on a lighthearted note. Here to bring you the happier side of world news is Brianna Smith with Sunny Side Up.
Thanks, I'm Brianna Smith with Sunny Side Up, here to share some heartwarming stories that are sure to put a smile on your face. Since 1976, February has been observed annually as Black History Month. The month pays tribute to the immeasurable achievements and contributions made by generations of Black men and women within the United States. Throughout the month of February, Uber and their food delivery extension, Uber Eats, have once again honored Black History Month by supporting Black-owned restaurants and businesses. In 2020, Uber recognized Black History Month by offering discounted rides to African American museums and landmarks. In 2021, the company focused on supporting Black-owned restaurants and helping them stay afloat during the COVID-19 pandemic. From February 8th to 14th, Uber Eats featured a virtual Black Restaurant Week within their app, highlighting participating Black-owned restaurants in more than 50 cities across the United States. Uber Eats has pledged that for every order placed with a Black-owned restaurant, they will donate $1 to the Black Businesses Matter Fund, up to $250,000. Uber will also be donating $250,000, which will be given to the grants to Black-owned restaurants in the United States and Canada. During lockdown, some of us learned how to bake bread or make dalgona coffee. But 104-year-old Lucia Chiquito Casero took something a little more challenging. Casero, who lives in Medellin, Colombia, had received his master's degree in science and technology from the University of Manchester in England 7 decades ago. Ever since then, he has been working on his PhD dissertation based on the idea of determining the maximum amount of water that can be sustainably taken from a river for energy. But 30 years ago, a mathematical equation presented itself as the roadblock between Casero and his dissertation. With COVID-19 forcing everyone indoors, the lockdown allowed him to focus solely on his research. After nearly a year in the pandemic, Casero has discovered the solution to the equation and submitted his dissertation for review. He intends on making hydroelectronics more efficient and hopes that the evaluation is speedy. Innovation, economic success, and recycling should all be welcomed in the fight against environmental disaster. One woman, now the vanguard of environmentalism, says that she was tired of being on the sidelines. Nzambi Mate, a materials engineer from Nairobi, Kenya, has impacted the world with a brick made of recycled plastic that is 5 times stronger than concrete. In a city struggling against plastic waste, Mate and her 3-year-old company, Jinjay Makers, were able to take dumps of unrecyclable plastic and transform them into a formidable building material by subjecting them to a hydraulic press. The company now has over 110 employees, churns out about 1,500 bricks per day, and has recycled an estimate of 20 metric tons of plastic since 2018. Mate has since expressed that she plans to triple their production with a bigger production line very soon. Well, I've hoped these stories have brightened your day, encouraged you to celebrate a culture that may or may not be your own, or inspired you to get the final push you need to finish an old project. Back to you, Cecilia and Amanda.
Thank you, Brianna. That is all we have for this edition of Eye of the Storm. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notifications bell to stay up to date with all of WRED-TV's latest content and all of St. John's news.
Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at WRED-TV and check out our website, WRED-TV.com, for more content and how you can be a part of our production family. From all of us here, I'm Amanda Aviles.
And I'm Celia Welton. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Eye of the Storm.
Hey, what's up? It's WRED-TV. Brianna Sherelle, your sunny side of anchor. Got Blake with me, and we're sitting in our seats. SJU News here reporting to you live. Can we go repeat? Hey, what's up? It's WRED-TV. Brianna Sherelle, your sunny side of anchor.